We're back. We're back live.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow.
Right? And see,
and you probably heard a few things there before we actually went live that in that 20-second delay that we weren't prepared for because I didn't have the open up. Thank you, Facebook, for once again switching everything up on us.
Absolutely. All right. So now.
That is crazy.
Okay, here we go. There's Mark Coleman as Mark Coleman. There we go.
Yep. It was playing games tonight. Crazy little thing. They redid a bunch of stuff over on the Facebook pages, new software update and things of that nature. And there's a button we used to click that you no longer click now. If you click it, it puts up a quote-unquote test live page that only we can see. So, oh wow.
I know, right?
Fun times.
Okay, so there it is. Yes.
All right. So, Danny, you ready? Now that we're done complaining?
I know, right?
You ready to hit it? All right. Here we go. Stand by. And 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Edinburgh Journal. Episode 650, Dan.
650?
650. It's kind of a little milestone.
A little? I'd say it's a big milestone there, bud.
So, yeah.
Congratulations.
So that puts you up to about 400. That might be episode 400 for you.
Is it?
It might be. You started around 250.
Is that what it was?
I think so.
Ooh, doggy.
So Danny's a seasoned veteran also.
Right?
He might not be the podfather, but he might be the pod prince.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying here, so you better take over before I get myself in trouble.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Yep. It had a banner on it that said test.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we deleted that, so that's gone.
We're good. We are good now. I tell you what, it is Wednesday night here in Michigan, which hasn't been too bad this week compared to hot last week.
Last week was hot. It's going to be hot tomorrow, though. It's going to be 92.
It's supposed to be, it's hot and getting dry out there.
It is.
It's
Tammy, no. I posted and shared that on my personal page. This is off the Up North Journal page, so.
Right. So, so tonight, episode 650, talking nothing other than archery.
There you go.
I love it.
Yep.
How about we talk about the people that help us? Let's talk about them.
I like it.
All right. Starting out with Buck Baits, folks. 20% off your order. You go over to buckbaits.com. Check out their ever-changing lineup and adding to it. They're adding fishing stuff. They're adding more hunting stuff. UNJ 20 over at buckbaits.com. Started last week. That's right, folks. The easy cuts. You've seen how Mark demonstrated them for us, how easy they are. Mike used them here in his house. I use them up north.
If you go out to my Facebook page, you can see exactly how I used them last week.
Exactly. And if you use the promo code UNJ15 off, you get 15% off your order at easycutproducts.com.
Don't forget to ask for a can of Slick It while you're there as well. A great lubricant that we're using here as well.
There you go. And Packer Max, folks, gets $25 off your order if you use the promo code UNJ25 at packermax.com. And if you need help, Mark Coleman has a bike that he will come and pedal around your field for you for a nominal fee.
I thought it was free of no charge.
Oh, okay. You said free. Okay.
Yeah, he'll do it for free. I think so.
Right? The Island Armory. I tell you what, folks, what great people. Hope, Jay, you're getting better. He's a little sidelined right now. If you want 10% off your order, use the promo code UNJ10 at theislandarmory.com. Go check out their front page. They have it in stock. If you don't see it, ask Natalie. She'll get it in a couple days. It'll be right there.
Yep.
They'll take care of you. JPO game calls, and I tell you what, it's getting to be, we're July 4th, so people are going to start thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hunting season's just a few months away. If you want 10% off your order, get over to jpogamecalls.com.
Waterfowl season's not that far off. Early goose season.
That's September 1, right?
That's right.
And we would be amiss if we did not say Deer Camp Coffee. Get your 10% code of UNJ10, 10% off your order. over at Deer Camp Coffee. While you're there, get a bag of the UNJ brew itself. Check it out. And for anybody here down in southeastern Michigan, they are going to be at a lot of the farmers markets with Uncle Henry's. So if you're at a farmers market, you see Uncle Henry's, and you see that, you'll see Deer Camp with them as well. I tell you what, nothing other than going back up to the UP, up into Newberry, where it's a nice 66 degrees. A little cloudy, it looks like.
No snow on the ground.
No snow yet.
Not yet.
And I tell you what, go over to Cedars, get a pizza, get some UNJ coffee, and enjoy the UP up in Newberry, thanks to FM 123 FM up there.
There you go. So how you been?
I've been doing great.
Good week?
Definitely a good week. I tell you, it's one of those things, you just, the weather comes and goes. I had a busy week of weddings. I had 2 weddings. I was busy all 3 days. 2 weddings, Friday a wedding, Saturday a wedding, Sunday a family event, and then I had my traditional Father's Day putt-putt championship with the girls over at, not Dairy Queen.
Uncle Ray's.
Uncle Ray's, thank you.
Did they let you win again this year?
No, Gabby kicked my butt.
Okay. Good. Good job, Gabby.
Right? So
Don't let him win anymore. You don't have to stroke his ego any. Put him in his
It was
place.
fun. And she did get the only hole in one, and it was on a hole that you got a prize, and she got a free game of golf.
Is she going to try her putting out on Holy Moly?
I know, right? Look at that. Mark Coleman is fixing the bike now. It's got 2 flat tires, a sheared off pin on the rear drive shaft. Give me a week and there might be a video coming. Sincerely, Mav.
Good. Can't wait to see that.
Right, for sure.
I want to see that Packer Max being pulled behind that trike.
Yes, we do.
And his little legs just a pedaling.
Right? I tell you what, it's going to be a good video. But with this dry weather, I know a lot of people are going to be shooting for getting some July food plots in.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to need some rain up here.
We do need some rain.
I know. Lincoln
The rivers are down.
Lincoln was. You were out on the bay.
Saginaw, yeah.
And but I know Lincoln was talking about it, that he needs rain over there, or else he ain't gonna have a crop.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of burn bans here. I think the whole state of Michigan right now, and the Lower Peninsula, is under a burn ban. At least an advisory, but I think a ban as well.
And with going into the 4th of July weekend, you know how that works.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the last 2 weeks, Holly, and yesterday Fenton was hit by fires in their downtowns respectively.
Yeah.
That the heat kind of didn't help.
No, not at all.
So
first responders are taking it. Literally, they're getting hit hard with these fires, this kind of heat and stuff. So
absolutely, but you know what? A couple weeks ago, we were up at TAC. We were supposed to have a show to talk about it, but we had some technical difficulties here.
Yeah, the air conditioning went out.
Yeah, it was hot.
That was the week we were off.
Right? So I tell you what, we went up to TAC. It was a great. It was a great time. Yeah, and you know what? If you come to my computer here real quick, we got up there on Thursday. We got up there nice and early.
I gotta find your computer first.
I know, right? You can see right there, the first place we walked by as we walked up to the hill was the practice hill, which they were still setting up because you don't see the flags or anything that we saw the next morning. And you can see that I was perfectly balancing that cone on my thumb.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
This is just the beginning of your adventure when you go to TAC, folks. The practice field is just get a sense of maybe somewhat of your elevation. Not even close. But I do believe that furthest animal out was at 100 and... Okay, so straight up from my finger in the practice range was 110.
The buffalo?
Yeah.
Typically at 100 was 110 this
okay,
year?
wait. It was 100 because to the left of that is the caribou, which was they were shooting for the truck.
112?
Yep, that was 112. Exactly. And I tell you what, you're shooting at the 10 ring. And...
yes, Mark, Crystal Mountain.
And I tell you what, it is a feat itself, just getting onto that practice range, getting it all set up. Great. I'm going to say the venue was great.
It was awesome. It's hard to compare Crystal Mountain to Boyne Mountain. From what we've heard, Boyne Mountain is undergoing a major renovation that's going to take 2 to 3 years. So TAC is going to be back at Crystal Mountain again next year, possibly a third year.
Yep, exactly. So we found out that talking to a gentleman right there when we were kind of hanging around, just looking around and see what was going on. But I tell you what, unfortunately, they had to cut all their courses short by 5 targets. So you went from 25 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing they told you when you walked up was, hey, guys, you're only shooting 20.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel like you want to go up and shoot more, after 1 o'clock, come back. We'll get you up there, and you guys can go shoot whatever you want.
Yeah, they wanted you there by 2:30 at the latest?
Yeah, and 2:30 was the latest because the one day, I think it was...
There's weddings up there.
There was actually a wedding up there, and the cool thing about that was, and this was not planned at all, folks, is that the people getting married were actually archers. So they actually shot the course in the morning, got married in the afternoon.
That's pretty cool.
I know, right? And that was totally unplanned because of the late change for Boyne to Crystal Mountain. It worked out in their favor that they could really have a good weekend.
And they had a wedding up there the next day, too.
Yep, exactly.
Actually, I think they had more than one. I think they had 2 or 3 up there.
Okay.
So.
And I tell you what, getting up there, the weather was phenomenal. There was just no ifs, ands, buts about it. A little bit of rain, a little bit of coolness, but it was awesome. And I don't think we had some rain, but it wasn't like that one year we kind of got soaked.
No. We just had some sprinkles. It wasn't bad at all. The humidity wasn't bad. The walking wasn't bad. Well, yeah, it was. Well, we shot the knock-on course first day, and when we got there, we shot the first 4 or 5 targets. They were all downhill. Retrieve your arrow, keep walking downhill. And I turned to Danny and I said, at some point we're going to pay for this because I said
it was starting off too easy.
There were long shots shooting downhill, but Dudley set this course up, and I said we're going to pay for it.
Yeah, because at one point we were basically just bouncing back and forth, but we were kind of gradually going up.
And then we went up.
Yeah, and then we went down.
And then up.
Right. And so, so Tammy, my brother, currently is, I do believe, in San Diego right now. So
Yep.
he was enjoying the Padres game a couple nights ago.
There
Pretty
you go.
cool.
Yep.
So, did we get any freebies or swag? I wouldn't say freebies because you get a T-shirt, which I'm wearing,
Which is part of what you pay for.
you pay for. So
and a sticker.
and a sticker. But they really didn't have no freebies. They had some trinkets or some stuff out there that some of the groups were probably giving away, but we didn't get any. But you just when you take it all in, like my brother had never been there, so we drove up with him and showed him the course and everything, and he was kind of like, this is the practice course, and it was like, here we go. And so it was fun. We had a good time just getting him inaugurated into the TAC.
Getting him acclimated here. That's what we're doing right here the first night.
Exactly. So it was kind of, so Tammy, how many arrows did we lose?
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Just so you know, you go in knowing they're not all going to come back.
That's right.
Because we just know that how the course is set up. And if Dudley's setting up a course, or matter of fact, any of the courses, you're going to run into these type of shots. And we'll talk about what the hardest target was, because we got pictures of that one.
Oh, yeah.
But there you go. You seen pictures of us getting acclimated to the evening. Got set in early.
The worst part of the whole trip is that we stayed about a quarter mile away from the Iron Fish Distillery. That was horrible.
And to tell you the truth, that was not planned whatsoever because it was awesome. We stayed in an Airbnb, and which was a quarter mile from the Iron Fish. We had to stop there.
Had to.
And we literally just drove off the end of the road into the Airbnb. So those are pretty koozies, aren't they? You can't miss those things. Yeah. So there we are.
Top of the mountain.
Top of the mountain. Very first day, day one. We're getting up there. It was beautiful. We had our knock time of about 11 o'clock, 11:30. We went up there, took some photos, and you can see the clear blue sky. It was starting to get warm.
And actually, we're standing right where the bride and groom got married. We're standing at what was their altar right there.
Yes, we were. We had the gentleman up there say, "Hey, I'll take your picture," and he was the kind of directing people go right or left. And the first, like you said, the first day we did knock on. So literally, the right over that edge right there is the knock on sign, and that literally was your first shot, and you started, and away you went. And literally going past this red sign that you see on the screen, you're going downhill. So it's like, okay, here we go.
Here we go.
First up was a 60-yard shot at a bear.
Yep.
So it was like, here we go.
And away we went. And first picture we're going to show you here, I had a little issue with this. I don't remember exactly where this was on the course, but I do remember I said some things I probably shouldn't have at this point.
We got to this one spot.
Did you delete the video?
Oh, no. That's never going to be deleted.
I didn't think so.
And you could see it was a beautiful day, and it was kind of getting warm, but we were still kind of on the flat, shooting side to side of the hill. So it was like, okay, which wasn't too bad. So elevation-wise to your target was minimal. And I think this one was, I don't remember,
50, 60
yards. And, my brother had never really, to tell you the truth, I sighted in my brother Thursday morning before we went and picked up Mike. So we got his pin set, and we were off and running. So he had a 5-pin sight, and he was shooting the 28, I do believe he's shooting. And so we got him shooting, and away we went. And I tell you what, we were flinging arrows left and right, and it was awesome. We weren't really busy.
No.
There wasn't nobody pushing us. There might have been some in front of us, but there was nobody really pushing us. We didn't get stacked up on any of the shots, which was nice. So it had a good flow to it.
Yep.
And
this particular target, at some point in my draw cycle, as I'm drawing back, my thumb release caught, the only thing we can figure is caught my shirt on the way back and launched an arrow somewhere into those trees that you see there in the picture. Don't know what direction. Don't know.
It was pretty straight. From looking at the video, it was pretty straight back, but it was.
We're not looking for it at that point.
It was a off and run shot.
I had a couple choice words to say, and then got another arrow and got with it. So.
And it was nice to get out the PSEs and stretch your legs in preparation for hunting season coming up. We just, it was take our time, do some shooting, have some fun at this. We didn't even keep score, folks. It was just let them aim, let them rip, and see where they went. And if we didn't feel comfortable at one distance, we moved up, or we just had so much fun with my brother there and Mike and I, and we were just out there just having a good time. And
I think you had too much good time, too much fun here on this one.
This one, okay, so this one is my biggest foam buck to date. I killed him at approximately 80 yards.
What did he score?
He scored a lot. And literally, it's funny because I'm holding the antlers, but the thing was we hit him, and his antlers fell off. So it was kind of funny. But this shot was about 80 yards, and literally you had to put it between two trees that were basically on each side of the vitals. And I think 2 out of 3 of us hit the target, and I think my brother was a little low. But I don't remember. It was just one of those, we were just having a good time. And my brother's first time out there, he was having a blast. We were having a great time. Going at it with each other and just kind of razzing and catching up to people or not catching up to people. And then as we got further into the course, we noticed the elevation started to do some changing on us. We were on the back side of the hill now, and we were going to eventually come back to the other side, the front side. So we started shooting, and you notice here that we're starting to shoot at elevations, up and down. So it was starting to get there, because Mike even warned it. He called it. He says, this is kind of easy. We're going to be paying for this eventually somewhere in here, where we're going to be going up and down, and it's going to get worse.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's hold it right there. Let's go to our first break. We'll come back and we'll wrap up day one, because day one might take a little bit towards the end. So we're going to step outside, take our first break, and we'll be right back after this.
All right, folks. Anybody watching the show, get on here with some questions. Ask us anything. And yes, I was wearing Crocs, Mr. Mark Coleman.
You were wearing Crocs that day?
Well, by the fire.
Oh, by the fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was not wearing them. I was not going to be one of those guys that wore your sandals or Crocs out into the field like some other people do. And it's like, oof.
All right, I need to save this off here.
Yeah, you saved that off. Hope Mark Coleman, hope you're feeling better. He's probably sitting there with an ice pack on his cheek or something because of his toothache.
Did he bite into a bad piece of jerky or something?
I think it was the Cosmic Brownie.
Oh. Well, I'm going to have to pull that one off the record.
All right.
Because it just disappeared.
Excellent. Way to go.
Yeah.
Way to go, program.
Yeah.
Oh, so Mark Coleman, you like that autographed bag of Deer Camp right there? That's right. Got him. You know what? Let's do a little mid-show change. We'll take Maverick and put him right next to it. There you go.
All right. Here we go. Stand by. In 3, 2, and 1. Second segment of the show.
That's right. Second segment of the show. And we are back. We're talking about our days up attack. And I tell you what, it was a fun time. We were on the knock-on course day 1, Friday, mid-afternoon, and we started to shoot.
A lot of arrows got lost by other people.
Yeah, it was. You always got to go into this knowing you're either going to lose something or you're going to. It's going to happen.
You're going to break some arrows.
It would
give them up to the trees.
It was, and if you see this shot here, this is literally one of the shots that you shoot through, and this is actually walking up to the target, but this is probably anywhere from 40 to 60 yard shot that you're shooting through these trees, and so either this tree is closer than you think or it's further than you think.
Yeah.
And as you can see, that there's a lot of carnage in the trees. That it happened. And as we were walking through, and the way they have the target set up is you can hear other people shooting if you're quiet enough. Like when you're getting ready to shoot at a target, there's probably another target where you can hear other people
Cussing.
or hearing the arrows hit the trees. Which I'll have that story here in a minute. So you go in knowing that, and the what happened was, Mark Coleman, we were using our PSE Hunter HDs, and we have them set up for our. Is one of them mine?
I think that arrow
Is
right
it missing
there.
a knock?
No, there's a knock on that one.
I probably pulled the knock out.
Or it's that one right there.
If it doesn't have a knock in it, I pulled the knock. But anyways, we were using our Hunter HDs from PSE, which we are set up for our hunting rigs. And these arrows are awesome. I'm not going to lie. We've shot other arrows. Carbon arrows today are really good out there. So it's just the ones we shoot. And we're also, Mike and I are both using stand releases.
Yep.
Which, game changer for us when we were introduced to them. Actually told to use them, kind of, by Dan.
You will buy these.
Right? And Tammy.
And it will make you a better shooter.
It will. And Tammy, there were vendors there to purchase more arrows. And yes, there was people purchasing more arrows like you would not believe. Because, like, we talked to a couple of people, that's where literally their first stop. Yeah, we're going to go purchase another dozen of arrows. We're going to head up. And so...
And give some more away.
Right? So, like I said, we were back on the knock-on course. We're starting to shoot these elevation shots. We got to a point, it was like, all right, we need to take a break. It was getting hot.
Danny got tired.
I got tired. We all got tired, and it was like, so we let a couple groups go through, and it was kind of fun, but the next group had 6 people in it, and it was an uphill shot, and the first guy shoots, and smack.
You hear him just smashing the trees.
Yep.
Smashing.
And they are arrows, Tammy. Arrows for bows, bolts for crossbows.
There you go.
And so out of this group of 6, 5 hit trees, and the one that made it and hit the foam skipped it off a tree. And that was that tight shot that Mike showed just an earlier.
No, that's not.
Oh, that's not it? Oh,
No,
it's coming up?
It's coming up. No, it's even tighter than that one.
Exactly. So
as we sat here and we watched group after group after group go by, right before we got up, there was a group of 5 that went through, and they were young guys. 4 of them were shooting, and one of them was just going along with them. And I didn't pay much attention to them, but the reason I bring it up is we fell in right behind them, and it's going to lead to the rest of the story for day 1 and 2.
absolutely.
So, but yeah, we got up behind these guys. It was our turn to shoot, and Terry was up first.
Yep. And it was uphill. And it was probably about 50 yards.
Yeah, 50. I can't remember.
I
exactly.
can't remember either. But when you look at the picture that we were shooting through, you'll understand why we heard so much carnage hitting the trees.
But after him was Danny, so he took his crack at it. And what did you do? Didn't you you and him both hit the tree?
Oh yeah, we hit a tree.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
And after my shot, I did push it through. I was like, I don't feel like climbing another hill, but so be it. We had to climb another hill. So.
And literally now the next set of targets, we're going up this grade, and we're gonna come down this grade, up this grade, down this grade.
So there's the hole that we shot through.
Right.
And this is probably halfway up the course. I'm standing in front of the tree, taking a photo of the arrows in the tree, and you can see the gap. It's a baboon that's up there on the hill.
I do believe that's my arrow on the right.
And
On the
it could
bottom.
be. You can see my arrow. It looks like it's right, almost dead center.
Yep.
In the baboon there, the green one. And you see the tree that's in front there, covering up the back side of the baboon. So you had to shoot that gap. And let me see if I can.
And it's funny because when you get onto this stuff, it's like you get to a point where like, okay, let's hope for foam.
Yep.
Because when you hear that thud of the foam, you're like, okay.
Yep.
And as you can see here, there was some carnage in the trees, or skipping off the tree, as you can see.
That was the tree in the back.
Yep. And
so there was a pile of arrows laying at both of them.
Right, exactly. So it was just one of those things that we had a great time, and we went up and down these, and it was getting hot. This is at an elk that was 73 yards
Something like that.
downhill, sitting in the pit.
Down a steep hill. That picture does not do that hill justice.
No, not at all. It was a heck of an angle to go down, and it was amazing. But that's what you expect to tack. Things you wouldn't think about. Actually, this shot is an actual shot that you could probably pull off if you're out hunting, because it's about 70 yards. He was laying down, and we just got ourselves ready, and then we had to go down the hill, which is always fun. And again, footwear is a must.
It's key. It is key. You got to have boots, good boots, hiking shoes of some sort, because there's a lot of sand, at least at this venue and at Boyne Mountain both. As you're climbing, you've got to have good footing.
Yeah,
and something that's easy on the feet.
Absolutely. And, we just, started shooting, and we got back more into the woods going up and down. And these shots alone are and of course, when Dudley goes out to do this, he wants to make it fun and make you feel like you're out west or whatever you're doing, and not easy shots. Sure, you got out in the field shots, but when you start adding these angles, or in this case, this picture, you're adding the tree, it becomes fun.
Puts you out of your comfort zone. It makes you take shots that you would never ever take out in the field. And makes you, what it does basically is when you hit these things, it gives you confidence to make those chip shots so much more easy, and it also expands your effective range.
Yes, and kudos to the Total Archery Challenge for having different courses out there. Besides Knock On, there was Prime, there was Sitka, there was the Leopold.
There was one more. I can't remember
them, but each of them, like the Sitka course, is always known to be lengthy, long and flat, and then obviously the other courses being up and down the hills. Each course offers something different, as from day 1 Knock On to day 2 Prime was somewhat totally different, because you were actually going off the other side of the mountain, but we were trying to make it through, and we pushed through, and eventually we got out into the field. and we were shooting at in a buck in an open field, and it was windy, and it was one of those.
I think I was 65 or 70 yards on this.
Yep. And would you normally take that? If you practice it, it'd be no problem at all.
Your brother didn't shoot this one. He wanted to watch us shoot that one, and after that, here's his parting shot. He says, "I've had enough. I'm out."
Yep. He you know what?
He took off.
He headed down. He headed down to the end of the mountain, go rest and relax, which was fine, because this was tough. It was hot. It was humid. It was going up and down, and it was his first one. So he went down, got some food. He waited for us at the bottom of the hill, and then we finished out. And literally so there's 20
targets. And target 20.
No, number 19. Let's go back to 19.
You don't have to talk about 19. I don't have a photo of that.
No, you don't. But you got to understand, we're walking down the hill. We're looking for number 19. There were green cones. They were numbered, so you knew if you found it, obviously.
Standing at the cone.
Yep, we're standing at the cone. We're looking to our right, looking to our left, and I can't see a target. Mike can't see a target, and he's looking and scanning.
I saw the ribbon hanging.
And then finally you picked up the ribbon, and then I'm like, what?
And I saw about this much of an antler.
About
a horn sticking up. It was a African animal.
Yep, it was about just a couple inches through the grass by the pink ribbon. And we're like, what? There's no way I could shoot and know what I'm shooting at. So literally, we kind of moved further down the hill a little bit, and it was an African animal at 35 yards, standing broadside.
And the hill and the grass was covered.
At the cone,
couldn't see it.
You could not see the vitals. You couldn't see anything. And actually, it's kind of funny if you're in the Total Archery Challenge group. That one was called out as a quote. Really, Dudley? I'm not 6'5".
The guy's jumping up trying to see the target.
Right.
Yeah.
And I totally get it. And it was like, all right, we're moving up a little bit. And sure enough, we took care of that one. And then we were on to number 20.
So let's go back to the story where the guys passed us, the group that was ahead of us.
Right.
There's 5 guys there. The one guy wasn't shooting. He was just along with them. Didn't pay much attention to it.
And he really wanted to shoot, but he ended up eventually he had some misfortunes where he actually broke both arms within a couple weeks of each other. So he wasn't feeling confident to shoot, but he wanted to be there and enjoy it. They're all basically local from the area, so it was great to meet them. Kind of let them go by, laughed a little bit when they shot, and we followed them down, and we were on our way down the hill. And this is the knock-on course. And so far, at the end of the knock-on course, you get to shoot with Mr. Dudley himself. He had a little area set up there, and he was going to shoot. You could go shoot with him. And he put up a Sasquatch that was 112 yards.
106.
112 for the caribou. 106.
You can see one of the guys in the group here ranging it.
Right.
Because that was the first question I asked. He said, we walk up, and there's this group of guys there, and Dudley points to the group ahead of us. He says, how many in your group? And he goes, we got 4 shooters. And then he looked at Danny and I, and he said, how many in your group? We said, 2. And the guys turned to us in the group, and they said, we're not shooting against them guys. They're pro shooters because they got shooter shirts on. We're like, we're not pros. We got shooter shirts on, but we're not pros, you know. And then Dudley says, well, you know what? You 2, come over here with me. He says, it's us 3 old guys against the young bucks. And as we walk over, I said, I don't know if you remember or not, but I said, ATA 2 years ago. He goes, yeah, you guys interviewed me.
That's right.
So he remembered us from the interview, and so we chit-chatted a little bit.
And I tell you what, it was totally laid back. It was total fun. It was awesome. And then we got to shoot against each other, and then it kind of started little jaw jacking against each other, and then we got Dudley to shoot, and yeah, of course he's gonna put it right on target.
Well, he's got a spotting scope there, and he shoots and he gets down the spotting scope and he looks through it and he goes, yep. He goes, I'm 3 inches low and about 1.5 inches to the left. He said, that's pretty close. And we're all like, yeah, okay, show off.
Right.
You know, at 106 yards with the wind blowing. So he takes his shot. And as we're sitting there, I told Danny, I said, I felt the wind die down at my back, and I looked up the hill, and I could see that the wind had died up in the trees. I told Danny, I said, draw and shoot now.
Right?
So, you know, I'm reaching back, getting my gear here, getting ready to draw. Danny's getting ready to draw. And I don't remember if you shot before me or not. I can't. Well, in this picture, no. You still got an arrow in your bow here.
Yeah, you went first.
So I was getting ready to shoot. I shot. I hit foam, and then Danny shot.
And then I did something even better. I didn't hit foam.
No.
I literally bounced my arrow off my sight. Now, why did I do that? Well,
we'll talk about that in a minute.
Right.
So, you know, Danny shoots, and then as Dudley, you can see he's got his binoculars up here. He gets on the spotting scope, and he says to me, he goes, dude, he says, you got it, you know. And before we started shooting, he said to us, he said, can everybody look up there? Can you see Sasquatch? And we're like, yeah, we can see Sasquatch. Of course, up there he looked like he was, you know, about an inch tall. And he said, do you see the pink ribbon on him? And we're like, yeah. And the pink ribbon was like dead center of the chest. He says, that's what we're aiming for. We're all aiming for that ribbon. So after we shot, he turns to me, he says, dude, you got it. I said, yeah, I know. I got foam. Well, then the other guy, or no, he says to me, no. He says, you got the ribbon. He says, not only did you get the ribbon, you put it in the hole that I pushed the ribbon in with.
Exactly, and that was awesome. It was awesome to see Mike. You know, like, first of all, you gotta understand Dudley's telling you this, and we're like, what? And then
I was just like, yeah.
Then he got his. He took his phone up to the spotting scope, blew it up, and you could see it. He goes, look, and man, you nailed it. I mean, it was one of those shots. It was awesome.
And one in a million shot.
Right? And
so
then
the kids are going to shoot, you know. And the kid, the best of them, he turns and he's like, really? Yeah, no pro shooter, huh? So they shoot, and the kid who's really good, he's the one that shot in between Dudley's arrow and my arrow. His is the one with the black fletchings and the green knock. And Dudley's is the one that's down below. So,
right, exactly, and it was great shooting. Laugh, and cut up a little bit, and
so they're gonna send the guy that broke both his arms up. He was the arrow puller, and I'm like, nope, I'm going to get him. I'm gonna pull arrows because I want pictures. So I took pictures while I was up there. But there you can see where I hit at. I mean, right at the end of the tape where it's coming out of Sasquatch there, and of course I had to get myself there pointing towards
the hero shot, right?
That's right. So we come back down, and we got done, and we're all jaw-jacking, and we got done, and Dud says, hey, we got to take a picture. So that was that shot. But I found the next day online, he was up the mountain taking a photo at Sasquatch looking back down the hill. Now, everybody who's on the live stream, if you look at the biggest tree, the big round tree at the bottom of the hill on the left, there's a line of people standing there in front of that tree. That's where we shot from. So that gives you an indication of just how far.
That's with Sasquatch looking back at us. That's what he sees.
Yep.
And we're pretty little down at there.
Well, and you can see the two guys behind him there over his shoulder, how small they look. And they're just a little bit behind him, but it's the difference in the elevation.
Right, and if you go back to the picture of us with Dudley, if you look up over the shoulder, you can see Sasquatch up there. And look how little he looks at when we're looking up at him.
Yep, right above that little pine tree right there.
Exactly, and so it was just one of those things. It was awesome. It was fun. It's a good way for people to end their shoot when you can shoot with the guy who sets the course and who is known around the world as
top-notch archer.
Top-notch archer, and he was having. What did you win, Mike?
We'll get to that in just a second. Because here's the important thing. The one thing we said we'd get back to was Danny's shot and him with a sight housing. And you can see, this is a picture of him at full draw, and I actually leveled the picture and blew it up as best I could. And you can see his arrow aiming right at the bottom of the sight housing.
So what happened was we shot, so I set my tape up like I normally do, and we did shoot an 80-yarder out on the course.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, no big deal. Well, this one was 106, so I just dialed to where I needed to be, And I kind of guessed because mine only went to 100, so I dropped it a little bit lower. Exactly what Mike did. And as you can see in this photo, that eventually I didn't even pay attention to it because I was confident that I was going to let it rip, and I did. And I literally took the bubble off my housing, and my fletching went somewhere, and my arrow went about halfway up the hill and into the trees. So
Now, Danny's sight's not the same as mine, but it's the same style. So as you can see, these are what we call adjustable sights for distance. And you can see that I can actually rotate it up for the short shot. There's 20 yards. And then all the way down here, as it goes down, I use my top pin, and that's 100 yards. But Mike, it's 106. Yeah, so I had to fudge it. So I guessed.
I remember this conversation.
And I
Does
guessed.
this look about right?
Yeah,
Sure.
I said, yeah, that's about right there. And that's what I shot. So you see the sight moving down. And Danny's, the way his sight is set up, and we never thought about I never thought about it. It could have happened to me too.
Yeah.
I don't know how much clearance I had.
Right.
And
Because what's going to happen on your rest is this is going to lift up.
Yep.
Matter of fact, it'd probably be interesting to see how much clearance you do have.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things. I shot out to 80 yards on the hill, so I wasn't even thinking about it.
And with the vapor trail rest, you shoot with the cock vein up. So his vein is what hit. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you would have known on the draw if the actual arrow would have hit the
Oh
sight
yeah,
housing,
for sure,
so.
for sure. So, word of the wise, I did it. When you're going out and I shot my sight. I set my sight tape up for 20 and 50 and put my tape on. I was good out to 80, but 106, yeah, it's not a good thing. So
Yeah.
what I got to do is I got to go reset my sight. I got to move it up so I can make it go lower to make my yardage.
There you go. Shoot longer distance.
Right, exactly. But now I don't think we'll be doing anything that long this year, so I'm probably good. I got to go just test my sight, which I did the next day. Mike says, "Hey, you go shoot that thing. Make sure you're on," and I was, which is awesome. I didn't destroy anything of that, or else I would have been out of luck. So, we shot, we had fun, we had laughed, and then what did Mike win? You asked Tammy.
This is the hat that we've been pointing at since we got back and we talk about. It's a Sitka hat, and it says winner 106-yard Bigfoot 2022 John Dudley. He signed it.
All right. So that was awesome. That was the end to day one.
So this will be worn. It's going to sit up here with the rest of the stuff.
Right, exactly. And we're going to add it to our wall of fame.
That's right. So
But it was just
I can say I outshot John Dudley.
You did actually. Two guys shot.
Yeah.
I shot him, and
Yeah.
it was fun. And that's what it's all about. It's all about having fun, meeting people exactly what we did. It
Yeah.
was the five guys that were ahead of us. We're gonna meet them the next day, but we ended up coming off the hill. We got rid of our stuff. We walked around a little bit, talked to a few people, and we had and that was basically our end of our day one was Friday night, and so we were kind of
back.
hungry and
Got something to eat.
yeah.
I tell you what, though, let's take a quick break, and we come back, we'll pick it up from going out to dinner. We're going to step outside, take our next break, and we'll be right back after this. All
All right, if you're watching the show, got any questions, throw them at us. We're talking about the Total Archery Challenge up at Crystal Mountain. It's a great venue. Worth it, I think.
Which one do you like better?
Boyne or Crystal?
Yeah.
You know what? I think Crystal Mountain wasn't bad. I really don't.
Minus the 5 targets, it wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't. There was a lot of complaining out there that, they were complaining about the price you paid and they cut you short on 5 targets, but they offered you to go back up on the mountain to go shoot another course.
If you wanted to.
So they threw in $60.
Yeah, because the people who shot early that were meant to shoot the first knock time so they could shoot 2 courses paid extra for it.
Right, and so basically they let you go back up, shoot another course for free. So that's a $60 value, that you're allowed to go back up there and shoot. So,
Yeah,
Can you
Tom.
show-
Tom.
Yeah.
Before we start this segment, it's right here. Actually, I'll grab it. real
he'll
quick.
grab his release, and but I thought it was a great venue. Boyne has what it has to offer, obviously. So does Crystal Mountain. I think they're both great little venues. We'll see next year. Obviously, we're going to definitely try to make TAC again. I've already got a few people asking me they want to go, so we're going to try to make that all happen. I know. Hopefully, we get Adam Wynn back into bow hunting this year, and we'll get him out there next year.
Okay. All right. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Stand by. 3, 2, and 1. Third segment of the show. We had a question in the break. Mr. Genza wants to show the release that we use. Danny and I shoot the exact same release, same color, same everything. And I don't know if you can see it or not there, but that is the release. It's a thumb release. Basically, it's got a hook right here for those of you who may not be familiar. And you put that around the string, you click, or actually, take that back. When it's open, you push that down and you put this around the string and it clicks and it locks. So it's on the string with your fist forward like so. So when you pull back, you pull straight back and hit your anchor point. Now the thing you must be very, very careful is you can see where my thumb is. It's not on the spring. I got a spring on this instead of using the barrel. And that just puts tension on it until it fires. So once I get anchored, I bring my thumb up and I start applying pressure as I get ready to shoot. And then when it clicks, it goes off. You got a picture of it there, Dan?
I'm working on it.
He's going to pull it up here on his laptop, and we'll be able to show you a closer picture of it. But this right here has changed the way I shoot and hunt. It's a huge game changer for me and for Danny both. It has greatly improved our accuracy.
It's about as big as I can get it.
All right, well there it is right there. It stands. This is the SX3.
Correct. That's the SX3. As the one you see in the picture has the solid thumb bar. We've got this tension spring. It helps in target panic. It helps just. It's a lot easier. What's also nice about this is that you can actually take the pin out that's in the handle and screw it in, and it won't fire.
Yeah.
So you can practice and not worry about it firing.
When what he's talking about, I have mine here in the studio somewhere.
Right.
It's packed. I know it's still here, but I just haven't gotten it out, and I don't know exactly where it's at. But basically what he's talking about is right here in the side. You can run, you lock it onto your bow, and you can run this thumb screw through, and it locks it into the lock position. And when you fire it, this hook will not release the string. So you can actually pull back, practice your form, and practice firing, and the string will not.
Exactly, and that's the biggest thing.
It keeps it from dry firing.
And I tell you what, with Dan's help and learning how to shoot these releases, you've got the stands out there. Dudley's got his out there. Ultraview's got theirs out there. It's just getting used to the release that you're using, and with practice, it changes your game. It literally changes your game.
Absolutely. I will say, before you use one, take the time and really study how this is, because if you pull this back with your thumb on there, you're going to see stars, because the first thing you do when you pull back is you're going to pop off the string and your hand's going to come back and hit you right in the nose. So everybody does it. I've done it once.
I've done it at Jim's shop. I've done it. It's you just get into it. You literally got to start thinking of how you're going to pull it back, get into that before you get on that release, because you make that release so finite that you barely have to touch it and it's going to go off. You don't want to have to a lot of thumb travel or nothing like that. It literally.
And that spring makes a world of difference versus a barrel. When you put your thumb on there, well, here, it takes this much pressure to shoot it.
Right.
So as you start your shot, it forces you to concentrate on holding the bow steady and not so much on this, because you don't know exactly when it's going to go off, because it's a spring.
Yep, exactly. So that's one of the things that Dan has taught us through the years of how to shoot these things and be prepared and learning your instrument that you're using to shoot with. So great release.
Absolutely. Highly recommend it. They are pricey, I will warn you.
They're all pricey out there. If you're going to get into a thumb release, they're all in that upper. There's some that are cheaper. So beginners, definitely try them out. My brother shoots one. I think he got it Bass Pro over 10 years ago. Now that I think about it, but he loves it. You know, that's
what he uses.
He switched over and he hasn't gone back since. And he shot well. At some of the targets, he outshot us. And you know, he only hit up to 60 yards. And you know, obviously, like in the real setting, he probably wouldn't do that. But we were out there to have fun.
And he was hitting foam at 60.
Yeah,
he was hitting
fun.
some good shots at 60.
Absolutely, and that's the way it goes.
And Adam Wynn, when you're ready, you let us know, and we will help you out.
Let's get that. Let's make that happen, Adam, sooner, so we can get you ready and maybe get you out there for October 1st.
Absolutely. So, all right. So Danny mentioned we got done. Shot with Dudley. The guys that we shot against were jaw-jacking, giving us the business. And as we sat there and talked, it was like, well, what are you guys going to do? Going to get something to eat? Yeah. Well, where are you guys going? Well, we're going to go down to the 231 Bar and Grill down there on the highway.
And they're like, what? Because they went to somewhere else.
Yeah, they're like, well, how good's food? It's good. It's reasonable. So they said, well, we'll go down and save a table. Okay, so they took off. Well, we took off quicker than they did. We got down there and saved a table. And then they come. We sit there and had dinner together and talked. It had a good time. Talked archery, talked all kinds of stuff, you know, just life. It was cool.
It was cool. You know, they are from the Petoskey area, I think. They were close to that area. Some live down here. Found out that the one brother lives in Rochester, works at General Motors, matter of fact. And the other one, they all live north up there, and it's just something. They do a lot of hunting.
Yeah.
They love their hunting, whatever it might be. Got to hear about a story how he left his bow. he has a pickup truck, so he was out shooting. He likes to shoot every day, and he put his bow in the back of his pickup truck with the case, and he drove off
with the tailgate down.
And then when he got to wherever he was going, he looked in the back and said, "Oh, my tailgate's down
and no bow."
And by the time he could drive back, there was no bow.
There's no bow.
So, word to the wise when making sure you have put your tailgate up.
There you go.
So we got to meet them, and sure enough, you know, you strike up a friendship and talk about it, have dinner. There was a bunch of other people there, obviously from TAC, because the waitress even asked us, you know, are you from that, or what are you guys doing, and how many days is it going? And we're like, well, it's going to go till Sunday. And she's like, oh, okay.
So anyway, we got done with dinner. Next day, got back up on the mountain, started to head up, and lo and behold, as we get to the top of the mountain, back up the same chairlift. First day we went to the left. This day we went to the little forward and to the right. And as we're standing there, I hear, "Hey!" We look up. It's the same four guys, and they're right ahead of us again. And the guy that shot and beat Dudley and was right next to mine, he says, "You took pictures yesterday, right?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Can you send me the picture of the arrows? I'd like to have them." And I'm like, "Yeah." So shot them to him, airdropped them to him, whatever. And then they said, "Why don't you guys shoot with us today?" We're like, "Heck yeah."
Yeah. It was as you can see, and Mike's going to throw up the pictures. We were heading over. We got our stuff ready, and you could tell it was going to be another beautiful day out there. It was sunny and everything, and it was just another beautiful day. And we met them at the top of the hill. They said, "Hey, let's shoot with each other," and it was
over before we knew it. We shot the prime course that day, which was a lot flatter, a lot easier walking, still long shots. Actually, I think the shots were a little longer. But as the shoot went on, I only took one picture during that whole shooting, and that was me and the guy that I beat, and a friend of his. That was the top grouping of the day. We all punched right there in the center.
And there was some shots again here and there. This one again, between trees, between uphill, downhill. Actually, there was a couple in the power lines because the power lines are cut right through the hill. We were in the opening of the power lines. Just I think the one was 90. The one that was furthest was a 90-yard shot. And you're just launching these arrows, and it says, there was a little sign that says, shoot and pull and come back. So we shoot, all right, somebody's got to go get them. Then they come back. Then we went the other way, kind of did the same thing. There was a couple shots along this power line that you were literally looking into the dark zone.
Yeah, you couldn't see the target. Without binoculars.
Without binoculars, you were like, okay. And then when you went to your site, it was like, oh, my.
So that was the only picture we took, and then we got to the end. It's like we took a group photo. So these are the guys we shot with.
Yeah, great guys. We're going to see if we can get them on the show more towards fall, because they do a lot of other things too. They basically hunt everything from geese. They do fishing. They do deer. So we're going to try to get them on the show, find out how it's going up there.
Now the guy standing next to Danny in the photo is the guy who Sam, that's right. Sam, he was the one that shot against me and Dudley, was right there in the middle. And afterwards, he went and did one of the shots where you pay a little money to try to win a truck.
So you pay $15 an arrow. You're shooting at 112 yards. And if you get it inside, not touching the line
of the 10 ring,
you get one ticket entered in to, I think this year it was a Chevy Silverado. And he said, okay, I got to try this. And he spent a little bit of money, but he did it. And truthfully, at the end of this, there is not many that get put into this.
At this point, how many? This was event 6 or 7.
Yeah, and
there was 40 tickets.
Yeah, there wasn't many, and usually they end up with about up to about 60, 70. So your chances are actually pretty good if you get put into this thing for a truck. And lo and behold, he smacked it after a little bit. And so we all high-fived, and and away we went. And so we got rid of our stuff, and we headed. It was about 4:30, and lo and behold, there was some free stuff over by the Dudley. And he obviously had to say some words. They gave out some free beer, and he gave a little speech, and it was awesome. He was just talking about, and then he took some question and answers. So
stuff they give out was some really nice prizes.
So
$300 gifts.
Yeah, he was giving away some really good prizes, binoculars, some other stuff, obviously from like little swag, hats, to some top-notch stuff of
I bet they give away a couple grand worth of stuff.
Oh, easily throughout the weekend for sure.
Yeah, maybe even a little more.
Right, and there was some other besides the caribou, you could shoot at the African animal that was closer, and you were entered into a drawing for an African hunt. And then there was the steel. Is that a rhino? The steel target.
Yeah.
And literally, you only had a couple inch diameter. Either you hit foam, or you're going to smash your arrow.
Yep.
And it was kind of fun because every once in a while you'd hear that
clang,
and you knew an arrow was destroyed. And then if you did that, you were entered in for another set of gifts.
I forget what it was.
I think there was a cooler full of something. But yeah, and they make it fun. They make it, whether you're on the practice range. There was a guy on the practice range on Saturday morning, literally was shooting because he had just bought the bow from the stand and brought it over because he didn't like his bow that he shot yesterday. So he bought a new bow, brought it over Saturday morning, was tuning it in.
What I like, going back to Dudley being there at the end of his course and watching people shoot with him, and there was crowds. I mean, it wasn't like it was those 4 guys and Danny and me standing there shooting. I mean, there was a gallery behind us. You want to talk about pressure?
Oh, Well, that's where at the end of the shoot, you kind of watch people shoot, and you just sit around and just watch the next group shoot to see how they did.
So that's what we did.
That's exactly.
And he's cheering everybody on, encouraging people. But there was, and I saw the videos on his page that earlier in the day before we shot, I think there was a girl that come up one girl, a woman that come up. She had just gotten her bow. First day. First thing they do is take her to tack. First time she ever shot a bow in her life. And she's up there at the line, and I believe she had an 80-yard pin was her tallest pin. So Dudley, he's reading the wind. He's like, all right, aim up there at that top tree, right above the Sasquatch, but aim above him at that tree, at the top of that tree. She rears back, boom, hits foam.
Yep.
And then there's a kid that come up there, 14-year-old kid.
This is great.
He had a 40-yard pin. That was his longest shot he had on his sight. And Dudley tells him what to, kind of where to aim at. The wind's blowing. And he says, you sure you can do this? And the kid's like, I got this. Rips back, wham, hits foam with a 40-yard pin. I mean, it's just, that's the kind of guy he is. He is a great ambassador for the sport of archery. He encourages people. He's not a show-off. He's very humble, very, very, very humble.
Willing to help, willing to encourage, willing to promote. Like there, he basically is a great advertisement for archery.
And PSC.
And luckily PSC has them. There's a backstory to why they have them. It fit what he wanted to do in his life at this time. He'll always tell you, I could have went to other companies for more money, but I didn't get what I have the freedom that I do with PSC. And he sat down with Pete Shepley and went over what he wanted, and Pete's like, okay.
Yep, here you go. He wants to do something. They give him an engineer. They draw it up, mock it up. He gets to play with it, make improvements on it, and before you know it, it winds up in our hands, as consumers, being able to shoot a great piece of equipment that he has kind of tinkered with and gotten the most out of. So.
And he tries to fill all those voids, right? The price points of an average hunter to an elite hunter, from like the carbon bows that he has down to the non-carbon aluminum bows that are in the couple $100 range. $700 I think is what it is. But he offers that up and says, hey, you get into it, you spend a little bit of money, and you're going to be there. And he puts his name on it, so it's one of those things. It's awesome. And you talk with him, and he's very, very humble. It's awesome. He's a great, and like I said, great ambassador for the sport of archery, and he wants to see everybody succeed, whether you're a child, woman, you're a male, any
age group,
where you're at in archery. If you're just beginning or you're a full-fledged tournament shooter, he'll always encourage.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take our last break. We come back, we'll kind of wrap things up.
Let's do that.
We're going to step outside. We'll be right back after this.
All right, last segment coming up. Tom Gensel's using a Max Pro 4. He likes it so far.
I'm not familiar with that. Call it up.
I'm doing that right now.
I want to see what he's shooting.
Right?
I am interested. And that's the key. No matter what you're shooting, it needs to be. You need to be comfortable with it. You need to be familiar with it, and happy with what you're doing. Because if you're not confident with it, it's just going to cause more issues than good.
That, and you got to practice with it.
Here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. Last segment of the show. Mr. Gensel was asking us what we shot, and he put in the chat there what he was shooting. So we said, well, let's pull up here and take a quick peeky at it. And he is shooting. What model is that again?
That is a True Ball Max Pro 4.
Okay.
Thumb release.
Yep, very similar to what we're using.
And the only difference being his has the double jaw, and ours is a single jaw that flips. But you know what? If it's improved your game, then you're all about it. Just work with it, and that's almost like the type my brother shoots too. I think his is a True Ball as well.
Yep. Instead of a hinge jaw, it's got the pincher jaws on it. So
yep.
Same basic concept is what we're shooting here. So I can't say enough for that style of release. It's just, it really has enhanced my game. You're no longer doing this reach and pull with your index finger, because it causes you to come off of your anchor point. When you start reaching for something, and there's too much movement there for me.
Exactly. Well, that's what we learned, right? That's what Dan taught us. Look at the movement you got doing this as opposed to a little bit of this.
A little squeeze.
Yeah.
Or the one thing that he taught us too, another thing, and I've played with, instead of squeezing with your thumb, just rock and let the pressure off with that pinky. Pull that pressure on that pinky and rock that release ever so slightly as you squeeze.
And it fires. And you set them that light. Because you can adjust how much tension is on that to shoot.
Yeah, yep, the tension is fully adjustable on that.
So let us know how you do with that, Tom. You know,
Absolutely.
Always good to hear, what you're using. Something new for the year. Let us know how it's going, what's happening with you, and how that release is treating you.
So, overall, experience-wise.
Overall, I think it was recommended by Jim. There you go. Explains it. Experience-wise, I think, per usual, we had a great time. I think my brother thoroughly enjoyed himself. I think it's definitely, again, next year. I've already had a cousin hit me up, says he wants to do it. I said, well, we'll see what happens. And obviously, we'll try to get Adam Wynn out there with us. That would be fun. And like I said, it's a couple days of just being fun and cutting it up and having a good time. And, whether you got a group or there's even been some single people that just go up there and they get put with groups. And I've seen great messages about that. Hey, I met so-and-so.
And they make friends.
Yeah. And we met a couple years back. I didn't see him this year.
He was there.
Yeah, he was there. But we didn't see him. So, it's just an event that you got to try it. If you're in archery and you want to do something fun and you got a weekend to do it, go do it because it is a blast.
Well, Tammy was asking how many arrows that you lost. He's got a quiver full right there. This was early on. I think he lost one, maybe two before this. And I wanted to see if I could find like later on in the
I think overall it was 5 arrows. I lost over the 2 days.
Okay, so there now you can see there's a few less sticking in the quiver.
Absolutely, and it was like, yeah, it was all right though. It was known going to happen. Let's just get it over with. But it's so much fun getting out there shooting, and just the weather was phenomenal. Even in rain, it was phenomenal. We last year just getting soaked. We were laughing about it. But
Day one, I didn't lose one. I smashed one into a tree.
Yeah.
And I got the whole thing back, and when I did the flex, but I chose not to shoot it just because of the impact. I haven't done the Q-tip test on it to see if I have any fibers sticking out of it yet.
Especially at the
that kind of impact on it. And then day two, I lost 2 and smashed 1.
Yeah, day 2 I did better.
You did a lot. Yeah, you did great on day 2. I didn't have a good day on day 2.
It was difference between night and day. But then that's the difference of shooting and not shooting. So you start shooting, you start getting your rhythm. But how did you feel about it?
The overall course, I loved both courses. I'm glad there was only 20 targets day 1 because that course, it got really tough in the middle. My legs were really, really hurting. Could I have shot 5 more targets? Yeah, but it would have been a struggle.
It would have been it would have been that mental part of if you're out west.
Yeah.
And you're you're in the late part of the day. You've been walking up and down,
and you get that shot of a lifetime.
And you get that shot of a lifetime. It would have been exactly where it would have been, and it would have been okay.
I liked finishing shooting with Dudley. To me, that was like, no matter what I did on the course or no matter what I did on the shot, to have the opportunity to shoot side by side with him, to me, that was the whole event.
No, absolutely. That was
you and me there with him. It was really cool to be able to do that.
It was so cool. And Tammy, Sam with us that second day lost 1 arrow because what he did is he shot through some trees and literally there was a piece of bark hanging and it hit that, it deflected off into the woods somewhere. So he lost only 1 that day.
Yeah,
so,
he hit foam every time.
Oh yeah,
the guy's a phenomenal shot.
He was, but like you said, Mike had it right. You go, you're up down, you're getting tired, you're at the last target, and here you get to shoot with John Dudley.
Yeah,
I tell you what, you really can't
ask for more than
as
that.
far as archery's concerned.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things that you just really can't put into words when you're shooting with one of the best out there.
Yep, it was really cool. Now, the second day, the part I really liked was the fact we didn't take a lot of pictures because we were talking amongst the group, and it seemed like every time we went to another target, I was walking up with one of the other guys, you know,
right,
and talking, and you know, and they were doing the same thing. It's like we're kind of rotating through, and everybody got a chance to talk to everybody. You got a chance to know them, and when we shot the last target, I went, wait, what? This is it? We're done? Because it felt like it was only like a half hour. It really flowed. It was easy walking.
It was
a good course.
And the last one was one of the toughest. Literally shooting up into a black hole, up angle into literally a black hole until you put your binoculars on it. Then you can barely make it out, and yeah, just shoot that way. And
it was the mini moose.
It was the mini moose, and like Mike said, it went so fast. We were like, we're done.
It happened that quick.
It did, and we flew, and it was a great time. Like I said, you get a chance to go do a TAC event wherever you might be. If there's one close by, go do it. I mean, they're always trying to work on when they have registration. It would have been great. Obviously, they learned this year that they crashed their server. They'll work through that, and they did a fantastic job. For us, I got everybody registered, but it ended up because I had to go back and forth. By the time only 3 people. By the time my brother was way off, so in times like 2 hours, and so like I emailed him right away. I said, "Look, we're together. Can you bring him closer so we can go?" And they did. They got him to within a half hour, and they said, "Don't worry about it. He can go up on the lift with you guys, and then just shoot."
Yep, and they did. They let us all go up together, so it worked out great.
Right,
and that was the second day, and we got to shoot with those guys again.
Yep,
so that was
exactly.
Cool.
So it was really cool. It was a good time had by all. Definitely do it again next year. From what we hear, we'll be back at Boeing or Crystal Mountain. Just matter what the dates will be.
Are we going to stay at the same place?
If it's going to be at Crystal Mountain, I would definitely say yeah.
Okay, so now that we talked about TAC and everything, where we stayed, like I said, was quarter mile down the dirt road from the Ironfish Distillery.
And I tell you what is really neat about this area as you're driving down these roads is you start running into these fields. These fields are full of oats, they're full of rye, but there's a sign in each field that says this field of rye will turn into 75 barrels
of whiskey in the future
for Iron Fish. And that was kind of a neat thing, and of course, that's prime deer habitat.
Well, so that first night after we sipped on a few barley pops, I grabbed another one. I said, "Let's go for a walk." I had my binoculars with me. I said, "There's deer in these fields, guys. There's got to be." I said, "This is prime habitat. It's up in the Northwest 12 where the APR restrictions are." We saw deer tracks in the 2-track leading down to the house. We walked up and down 2 separate fields and wood lines. And never saw deer.
I know, right?
Right at dusk.
It was
right at dusk.
It was prime time, and we didn't see a thing. Now, could they have been standing there looking at us? Probably, because these fields were rolling. You know, they could have been on the downside. But
it was probably chest high.
And if a deer was standing up looking at you, you could have caught the ears.
Yeah. But if they were laying there munching, you couldn't see them.
They weren't going to.
But there was deer tracks all on the road.
Right.
But I cannot believe we did not see one deer.
Exactly.
In those fields. We did see deer traveling the roads.
Yep. We saw that, and it was, we'll probably stay at the same spot. It's a beautiful place.
Absolutely.
And depending on how many we get, there's 2 places there. We can get 1 or 2, depending on if we can get enough people.
Yep.
And have a good old time.
No, it was a great time. I highly suggest for any of you archers out there that are contemplating going to TAC, just do it. Just flat out, just plan it and do it, and shoot 2 days. I wouldn't suggest, if you've never been before, I wouldn't suggest trying to shoot 2 courses in a day. It's depending on where you're at, it can be really taxing.
Literally, we met a guy in the parking lot. He was having his lunch. He was in his 60s. We were done. We were leaving, and talked to him a little bit. And he was having lunch, and he was waiting for his group with his son in it. They went back up and shot the second. He's like, "Nah, I'm done with that. I did the 1 course. I had enough. and he wasn't going back up. But to shoot 2 courses in one day, it's tough. Literally, you definitely got to get an early knock time, because then you can come down, you can have a lunch, you can recharge a little bit, and then go back up and shoot it. Because each course,
3
probably
hours.
3 hours on average.
2.5, 3 hours.
Yep.
The first day I think we walked 7 miles. Second day we walked I think 4.5.
Yeah, it was a little bit shorter, but it went so fast because we were having so much fun, and that's the part of this. These guys we never met, and we met them for 2 days, and we had a blast. And you're right, Adam. Wynn, it is fun. It is a blast, and literally, it is so much fun and laughter when you're walking up to a target, and as you're walking up, like Mike showed in the pictures, you got arrows in trees, you got smashed arrows around, and some of these, the target was right there, but if you missed, you were hitting a tree, or you were going to be putting into the side of the hill, or you were going to be doing something, and there was carnage in some of these, and you're like, yep, this was a good one. And the ones, you go have fun, and the buckets of arrows that are there that are lost and found, it's almost like, hey, I found one. Oh, this isn't mine.
Yeah.
So,
well, the thing that caught my eye, and you and I talked about this before the show, is the first 3. This is our 4th tack,
Yep.
I think. The first 3 years we went, and we've talked about this before. You see guys and gals decked out head to toe, camo. It's like they're going in the woods, Rambo style. I mean, they look like they're ready to go hunting.
like every animal out there is alive and well and ready to go down.
So
this year, and Tammy, you'll be glad to know that the colors of the wares were tan, brown, and gray.
that was the choices, pretty much across the scheme.
Yep.
You see an occasional piece of camo here or there, or a camo shirt.
Or T-shirts or whatever, but it seemed to be...
It was toned way down.
Oh, yeah, it was... I think it really depends on what caliber people are there, because you get sometimes... And we're not knocking them. It's just that's what they want to do. You go right ahead. Maybe you are preparing yourself for that out west hunt. That's the great thing to do it. But we're there to have some fun, shoot some arrows, lose some arrows.
Yeah.
And
the other cool thing that got me was at the end of day 1, there was golfing events going on, weddings going on. So there's people at this resort. That's where it's at, a ski resort, that were not part of the archery world. And when we got all done shooting with there at Sasquatch, I got my hat and everything and got pictures, all that, we're all done. And this gentleman walked up to me who had golf shorts and a golf shirt on. I don't know if he was part of a wedding party, there to see somebody get married, or if he was golfing or whatever. He was standing there with 2 other guys, and I'm kind of getting my stuff picked up, and he goes, "Can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He says, he said, "Great shooting." He said, "By the way," I'm like, "Thanks." And he said, what kind of sight do you have to shoot like that? He had no clue. He says, "I don't know anything about this archery stuff," but he was intrigued enough to come up and ask a question about it, because he was interested enough to know about it.
That's a great thing you brought up. What better way to show off the sport is when you have availability of people to walk up and just watch.
Yeah.
Guys and gals winging it at 106 yards at a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
And then if some are hitting it, some are missing it, and then this guy was intrigued enough to ask you about it. How do you do it?
Yeah. How did you do that? How does that site work? And so I just took 10 minutes, kind of talked through how it all worked and what we do and about the event, and so not only are we out there to have fun, we got to remember we can also be ambassadors for the sport.
Absolutely, and
that goes for everybody.
Anybody in the sport can be ambassador to the sport, talk about it, and kudos to the guys that we saw with longbows.
Absolutely.
That were going out there. I'm not sure how they were doing it, but
longbows and some recurves.
Right, and it was fun to see those guys out there too, and just see, and then I did see that gentleman just walking around, floating around the venues of the vendors and everything. So give him credit for wanting to just check it out and see what's going on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Talk to people.
Right.
If you don't know, you got to ask. There's no dumb question. There's never a dumb question.
There is never a dumb question. So, we tell everybody, just ask. we'll answer. If we don't know, we'll try to get the answer from somebody who will know.
Yep.
You know, and we've had that happen when we've done events out at Cabela's and other places, you know, but it's just good to see people out there and getting out there and being in the outdoors and archery.
I'll tell you what, I think we need to wrap it up. We've went a little long tonight, which that's okay, but we had a blast. TAC was good. Can't wait till next year. Would love to see all of y'all out there. You know, if you know us, and you see us there, come up and say hi.
Yeah, and unfortunately Kyle wasn't able to be there because he was in a fishing tournament, and, you know, it was like, but we'll see if we can't make it happen again next year.
So we did see a few friends there, so that was cool.
Absolutely.
So next week.
Next week, so I'm going to be in the UP.
Oh, that's right.
Next week is vacation week. I'll be in the UP.
We're going to try to hook up with Adam Wynn and talk a little bit of fishing because he's doing some kayak fishing. Maybe run through his setup a little bit.
Yep.
So, Adam, if you're on listening right now, start taking photos.
Right.
And send them to me. So, but that'll do it for us this week. We're going to try to get you a show next week. It's 4th of July. Most importantly, be safe out there. Don't be lighting firecrackers off and blowing your trigger fingers off.
And be careful if it's dry out there, what you're doing.
No forest fires.
Yeah, no forest fires, and be safe.
So that's all we got for this week. Remember, go over, if you're listening on the podcast, go over to iTunes, give us a review over there. That helps us and helps people who help us. And make sure that you share the show for us as well, and give us a like, follow here on social media. Y'all take care and be safe out there. We will see you hopefully again next week, but if not, it'll be 2 weeks. So you just have to stay tuned, and we'll throw something at you. Y'all take care.